This is the OCR GCSE 9-1 Maths Foundation Paper 2 from the November 2021 series, and this paper is a non-calculator paper. Question number 1. Part A. How many sides does a pentagon have? Here is a pentagon. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. A pentagon has 5 sides. Part B. Write down the mathematical name of this solid. Well, here we have a cone. Part C. The angles in a triangle are 40, 50 and 90 degrees. We have to write down the mathematical name for this type of triangle. Well, we have a right-angled triangle because one of the angles is 90 degrees. Question 2. Part A. We have to work out -7 plus 10. This is the same as subtracting 7 from 10, which is 3. Part B. We have to work out 4 times -2. 4 times -2 is -8. Question number 3. For part A, we have to work out 9.06 divided by 3. Well, 9.06 divided by 3, that's the same as 9 over 3 plus 0.06 divided by 3. Now, 9 over 3, that's 3. 0.06 divided by 3, that's 0.02. And adding these together, we end up with 3.02. So therefore, 9.06 divided by 3 is 3.02. Part B, we have to work out 15 multiplied by 0.6. Well, we've got this 15 and we are multiplying by 0.6. 0.6 as a fraction is 3/5, so we have 15 times 3/5. And to work out what this is, well, 15 divided by 5, that's 3. And then we multiply this by the 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So 15 times 0.6 is 9. Question number 4. We have to use one of these symbols to make each statement true. Part A. We've got 1/4 and 0.025. Well, 1/4 is the same as 0.25. So we are comparing 0.25 with 0.025. We can see the 0.25, in other words the 1/4, is greater than the 0.025. For part B we have 0.304 and 0.34. Well, 0.34 we can write as 0.340. We can clearly see the 0.34 is larger than the 0.304. So 0.304 is less than 0.34. Question number 5. We have to work out for part A 4 plus 16 divided by 2. Using the rules of BIDMAS, this is the same as 4 plus 16 divided by 2, which is 8. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. 4 plus 8 is equal to 12, and therefore 4 plus 16 divided by 2 is equal to 12. Part B of the question, we have to insert one pair of brackets to make the calculation correct. We have 5 multiplied by 7 plus 1 divided by 9 equals 4. Well, I can see this divide by 9, and I know that my answer will be 4. Now, if I divide 36 by 9, I get 4. Now, you will find that 5 times by 7 is 35, plus the extra 1, that's 36. So if I place brackets here, you can see I've got 36 divided by 9, which is 4. So the brackets go here. Question number 6. In a quiz, Darcy answered 16 of the 20 questions correctly. For part A, what fraction of the questions did Darcy answer correctly? Give your fraction in its lowest terms. Well, out of the 20, 16 of them were answered correctly. We need to write 16 over 20 as a fraction in its lowest terms. The top and bottom can be divided by 4, leaving us with 4/5, and therefore 16 over 20 is the same as 4/5. So we have 4/5. For part B, we have to write the fraction as a decimal. 4/5 as a decimal is 0.8. Question number 7. For part A, we have to write 13 over 3 as a mixed number. Well, the 13 over 3 can be rewritten as 12 over 3 plus 1 over 3. 12 over 3, that's 4, and we are adding 1/3 to 4, which is the same as 4 and 1/3. For part B, for the first part, we have to work out 1/3 plus 4/9. Well, the 1/3 we can rewrite as 3 over 9, and then we are adding to this 4/9. The 3 plus the 4, that's 7, so therefore we end up with 7/9. 1/3 plus 4/9 is 7/9. Next, 3 divided by 1/3. Well, here we have 3 holes. Here is 1 hole, here is 2 holes, here is 3 holes. We want to find out how many of these 1/3s go into 3. Clearly, that's 9. Question number 8. Here is a function. We input something, we add 3, we times by 7, we get an output. For part A, we have to find the output when the input is 2. Well, here is our function machine. We start off with 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. Multiplying that by 7, we get 35. So the output is 35. For part B, we have to find the input when the output is 63. Well, here is our function machine, but in reverse. We use the inverse operations. The inverse of times 7 is divide 7. The inverse of plus 3 is subtract 3. So we start off with an output of 63. 63 divided by 7, that's 9. Subtracting 3 from that, we get 6. So the input is 6. Question number 9. A shopper buys 4 apples costing 60p each and 3 peaches. They pay with a £5 note and receive 44p in change. Each peach costs the same amount. We have to work out the cost of 1 peach. Well, if we let the cost of a peach equal X pence, we've got 4 apples costing 60 pence, and then we've got 3 peaches costing X pence each. And then we've also got the 44 pence in change, and in total we pay with a £5 note, which is 500 pence. So we've got the apples, the cost of the peaches and then the change that we get. And we pay with a £5 note, which is the same as 500 pence. So we've got 240 plus 44, that is 284. So we have 3x plus 284. This is all equal to 500. So 3x, that's equal to 216, and if I divide through by 3, you can see x is equal to 72. So we have 72 pence. Question number 10. Ben and Sundeep are making pancakes using the ingredients below. The ingredients to make 12 pancakes: we require 75 milliliters of water, we require 200 milliliters of milk, 100 grams of flour, and 2 eggs. For part A, the ratio of the amount of water to the amount of milk needed is 75 to 200. We have to write this ratio in its simplest form. So we have our ratio 75 to 200, and if I divide both sides by 25, we get 3 to 8. So our ratio is 3 to 8. For part B, Ben makes 18 pancakes. We have to work out how much flour he needs. Well, we know for 12 pancakes we require 100 grams of flour. For 6 pancakes we require 50 grams of flour, and that's dividing both sides by 2. And so for 18 pancakes we multiply by 3, giving us 150 grams. So we require 150 grams of flour. For part C, Sundeep has 225 grams of butter and 10 eggs. She has plenty of the other ingredients. We have to work out the maximum number of pancakes that she can make. Well, so far for 12 pancakes we've got 50 grams of butter and 2 eggs. If I double this, for 24 pancakes we require 100 grams of butter, 4 eggs. 48 pancakes, double again, we've got 200 grams of butter and 8 eggs. Now what we need to do is find out the maximum number of pancakes we can make. Now I've got 200, but I want 225 grams. So you'll notice if I half the 50, I get 25. So for 6 pancakes I need 25 grams of butter and 1 egg, and that's just halving. Now if I add together the 25 and 200, I get 225, and adding together the 8 and the 1, I get 9. So I've got 225 grams of butter, so I've got enough butter now. I've already got enough eggs to make 54 pancakes. So we require 54. Question number 11. Ali, Blake, Rowan and Sam are in a relay team. Sam always runs fourth in the team. The order for the other 3 is chosen at random. For part A, we have to complete this table to show all the possible orders for the team. The first row has been completed for you. So Sam always goes fourth. That's quite important. So we could have A first, R second, and B third. Sam is still going fourth. We could have B first, then A second, R third, S is fourth. Or we could have B first, R second, A third, B fourth. Or we could start off with R, then have A second, B third, S fourth. Or we could have R first, B second, A third, S fourth. Here are all the possible outcomes we could have. For part B of the question, we have to find the probability that Ali will run first. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 combinations in total, and of those, how many times does Ali go first? Well, Ali goes first in twice of them. and you can see that here. So we have 2 out of 6, which would simplify to 1/3. So we have 1/3. Question number 12. The shape below is formed by a rectangle of width 4 centimeters and a regular pentagon. For the rectangle, the ratio of the width to the length is 2:5. We have to work out the perimeter of the shape. Well, each side of the pentagon will be 4 centimeters. What we need to do is find the length. What we know so far is the ratio of the width to the length is 2:5. We have 4 centimeters already. So for us to find out what the required length is, what we have to do is multiply the 5 by 2, because 2 times by 2 gives the 4. So the length is 10. So we have the length of the rectangle being 10 centimeters. So for us to work out the perimeter, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 times by 4. And then what we have is another 4 here. So instead we've got 5 times by 4. And then we've got this 10 appearing twice. So we've got 20 plus 20, which is 40. So we have 40 centimeters. Question number 13. Part A, Reese is given this question. We have to write 20 as a product of prime factors. Give your answer in index form. Reese's answer is 2 times 2 times 5. Is Reese correct? Explain your answer. Well, 2 times 2 times 5 is indeed 20, but the reason he is incorrect is because his answer is not in index form. What his answer should be is 2 to the power of 2 times by 5. Part B, we have to complete the power of 2. 1/8 is equal to 2 to the power of something. Well, 2 to the power of -3 is equal to 1/8. And that's because 2 to the -3 is the same as 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1/8. For part C of the question, we have to work out the square root of 81 times 2 cubed. Well, square root of 81 is 9, and I'm multiplying that by 2 cubed, which is 8. 9 times by 8 is 72. Question number 14. A car mechanic has a tin containing 5 litres of engine oil. Each week they use 450 millilitres of this oil for their vehicles. The car mechanic says, after 9 weeks I will have used over 80% of the oil in this tin. Are they correct? Show how you decide. Well, let's see how much oil they have used. The amount of oil that they have used is equal to 450 multiplied by 9, because we use 450 each week. Working this out, well, what we can say is this is the same as 500, rather what we can do instead is work out 450 times by 10 minus 1. So I've got 4,500, subtract 450, and working this out, we get 4,050. So that is the amount of oil they have used. So what we have is 5 litres. So we've got 4,050 millilitres altogether out of 5 litres, which is the same as 5,000 millilitres. And we need to determine whether this fraction is greater than 80%. Well, it is greater than 80%, and that's because if we had 4,000 divided by 5,000, this is the same as 4/5, which is the same as 80%. So if I've got a number bigger than 4,000, like 4,050, my fraction will also be greater than 80%. So this fraction here is greater than 80%. So are they correct? Well, yes, they are correct. Question number 15, we have to solve the inequality 2 times by x plus 5 being greater than 16. We begin by dividing both sides by 2. The reason for that, this 2 and this 2 simplify to 1. So I've got x plus 5 being less than 8. And now if I subtract 5 from both sides, what we are left with is x is less than 3. Question number 16. Here are sketches of 5 graphs. We have to write the letter of the graph that represents the following relationships. Y is directly proportional to x. Well, we're looking for a straight line which passes through the origin. That's graph C. For part B, y is inversely proportional to x. Well, what we are looking for here is the line y equals 1 over x, which corresponds to graph D. Question number 17. The diagram shows a prism. For part A, we have to draw an accurate plan view of the prism on the 1 centimeter grid. What we are talking about when we have the plan is what does the shape look like when I look at it from the top. Well, when I look at it from the top, I've got this 8 this way, and then I've got 6 this way. So my rectangle will be 8 by 6. So if I draw a rectangle 8 by 6, well, here is a rectangle 8 by 6. This would correspond with this, and then we've got the 6 centimeters, which is this, and that corresponds with this bit here. Now, I've got 4 centimeters inwards, and then I've got this line. So what I need to do is draw 4 centimeters up and then across. So from here to here, and then this 4 centimeters will correspond with this bit here. So here is the plan view. For part B of the question, we have to show that the volume of the prism is 72 centimeters cubed. Well, first of all, we can work out the cross-sectional area of this triangle. The cross-sectional area of that triangle, well, we've got the base, which is 6, and the height, which is 3. So we have 1/2 times by 6 times by 3, which is 9. So therefore, for the volume, we would have the cross-sectional area, which is 9, multiplied by the length, which is 8, and it turns out we would get 72 centimeters cubed. For part C, a cuboid has a square base that also has a volume of 72 centimeters cubed. The height of the cuboid is 2 centimeters. We have to work out the length of one side of the square base. Now here is our cuboid. If I say the base is x centimeters by x centimeters wide, and the height is 2, we know that the volume is given by 72. So we have 2x squared equals 72, which means x squared is 36, which means x is the square root of 36, which is 6. So we have 6 centimeters. Question number 18. The table shows the marks obtained by 10 students in a spelling test in January and February. The marks for the first 6 students are plotted on the scatter diagram. For part A, we have to plot the marks for the remaining 4 students. So here we've got 70, 86. So for 70, 86, well, 70 is along here, and then 86 is over here. So we have this point plotted. Next we have 44, 60, so 44 is here, and then 60 goes here. Then we've got 37, 48, so we've got 37, 48, that goes here. Then we've got 38, 50, so $38.50 would go here. So we've plotted all the points. For part B, we have to describe the type of correlation shown in the completed scatter diagram. Well, as you can see, as marks in January increase, so do the marks in February. So therefore, we have a positive correlation. Part C. For the first part, on the scatter diagram, we have to circle the student that made the greatest improvement in their marks from January to February. Well, looking at that, this person has the lowest marks for January, but then a very high score for February, so we circle this point here. For the next part, we have to work out the percentage change in the student's marks from January to February? Well, what you can see is they scored 30 in January and 66 in February. So to work out the percentage change, we would have to do 66, subtract 30, that's the change, divide this by 30 and then multiply by 100. So if we work out what this is equal to, we have 36 over 30 times 100, and this we can simplify to 6/5. 6/5 times 100. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So we've got 20 times by 6, which is 120. So we have 120% change. Then another student, Kai, scored 79 marks in the test in January but was absent for the test in February. Kai says, I could use a line of best fit on the scatter diagram to estimate the marks I may have achieved in the test in February. Is Kai's method reliable? Give a reason for your answer. Well, he said he scored 79 marks in January. And if I start drawing a line of best fit, for the marks in February, that's going to go above the data that we've already got. Well, his method's not reliable because the line of best fit should not extend beyond the data provided. So, if we actually talk about the line of best fit, well, the line of best fit, something like that. If we were to extend this line of best fit for a mark of 79, it'll go beyond the data. So that's what we mean by that. So the line of best fit should not go beyond the data, which is why his method's unreliable. Question number 19. A worker received a 10% pay increase in 2017 and a further 10% pay increase in 2018. The worker says, over these 2 years, my pay increased by 10% plus another 10%, which is 20%. The worker is incorrect. You have to work out the correct percentage increase. You must show you're working. Well, if I let the original salary equal X, then I've got this salary, and then I increase it by 10%, so I multiply by 1.1, which is the percentage multiplier in 2017. And then I multiply this by a further 10%, so I multiply again by 1.1, which corresponds to the 10% pay increase in 2018. So if I work out what this is equivalent to, I get 1.21x. So the percentage increase, well, our multiplier is not 1.21, so a percentage increase is 21%. Question number 20. Force is measured in newtons. A force of 198.5 newtons is applied to a rectangular surface of length 4.9 centimeters and width 4.1 centimeters. We have to work out an estimate for the pressure in newtons per centimeter squared applied to this rectangular surface. The formula for pressure is pressure equals force over area. So we've got our rectangle, and this rectangle is approximately the same as this rectangle here. We round down the 4.1 centimeters to 4 centimeters. We round up the 4.9 centimeters to 5 centimeters. So the approximate area then is 4 centimeters times 5 centimeters, which is 20 centimeters squared. We also know that the force is equal to 198.5 newtons. That is approximately 200 newtons. So to work out the pressure, that will approximately equal, well, we've got our force, 200 newtons, divided by the area, 20 centimeters squared, and it turns out this is 10 newtons centimeter squared. Question number 21. For part A, we have to complete this table for y equals x squared subtract 3. Well, I've got y equals negative 3 squared subtract 3. 9 subtract 3 is 6. Then when x is 0, y will equal 0 subtract 3, which is negative 3. So here is our completed table. Now for part B, we have to draw the graph of y equals x squared from minus 3 to 3. The first thing we need to do is plot the points. So we've got negative 3, 6. Then we've got negative 2, 1. Then we've got negative 1, negative 2. 0, negative 3. 1, negative 2. And then we've got 2, 1. And then we've got 3, 6. So what I need to do now is join all of that up with a smooth curve. So here is the graph of y equals x squared subtract 3. Then for part C, we have to use our graph to solve the equation x squared subtract 3 equals 2. Well, if I draw the line y equals 2, that's this line here, what we need to do is read the values for which that corresponds to. So we've got a value here, and we've also got a value here. So we've got minus 2 and 2. So we've got minus 2 and 2. Question number 22. A journalist is going to do a survey to find out whether people aged 15 or less spend more time playing computer games than people aged more than 15. The journalist says their sample will be the first 20 people leaving a particular shop 9 AM next Monday. For part A, we have to give one reason why the journalist's sample is unlikely to give reliable information. Quite simply, the sample size is too small. They're only asking the first 20 people. For part B, we have to make 3 suggestions to help the journalist obtain a sample that may give more reliable information. Well, we could use a larger sample size. We could ask more than 20 people. We could ask 100 people. Next thing, we could vary the time of day. Right now, they're only asking people at 9 AM next Monday. So we could vary the time from, say, 9 AM to 5 PM. The third thing we can do is vary the location. They're asking people in a particular shop. We could ask people from multiple shops. Question number 23. The diagram shows a straight line crossing 2 parallel lines. We have to find the value of y showing it working. Well, if we've got 2 parallel lines, like so, and we're crossing like that, then what we've got are 2 angles which are corresponding. Like so. So this angle equals this angle. So we've got 2x plus 30, which is equal to the x plus 85. That's because we have corresponding angles. And if I solve for x, I've got x equals 55 degrees. So now that I know that x is 55 degrees, that means that this angle is 55 plus 85. So we've got 55 plus 85, which is equal to 140. So that angle here is 140 degrees. For us to find out what y is, we need to recognize that we've got angles on a straight line. So I've got 140 plus y equals 180, and that's because angles on a straight line sum to 180, which means y equals 40. So y is 40.